Interested in knowing which stocks Warren Buffett is selling? Looking to glean some insight from the master? Want to know whether or not you should also sell these stocks? Then you have to check out today's video.
He is a best-selling author.
30-year-old Jason Fieber has a plan.
This guy retired at only 33 years old.
I don't know if I know too many people that have accomplished something like that.
He's really kind of a guru when it comes to passive income.
Before I get into today's content, please give us a big thumbs up if you find value in our videos. Helps us to get the word out and grow the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Warren Buffett oversees a common stock portfolio worth almost $300 billion for Berkshire Hathaway. This portfolio has largely been built by steadily accumulating shares in high-quality businesses over the years. Buffett is a legendary buy and hold investor. This patience has worked out tremendously well. However, that's not to say that Buffett doesn't sometimes sell stocks. Berkshire Hathaway unloaded shares in a number of businesses throughout the first quarter of this year. And today, I want to share with you two groups of stocks they've been busy selling. This could give you some insight as to whether or not you should do the same. Ready? Let's dig in. Berkshire Hathaway spent the first quarter really lightening up on two groups of stocks. I'm talking about banks and pharmaceutical companies. Where's the love for big banks and big pharma? Well, I'll tell you where the love is. It's right here with me. Despite Buffett being now less exposed to certain names in these two areas, I remain a huge fan of both. So which stocks in these areas have been sold? In Big Pharma, Berkshire Hathaway sold about 2.7 million shares of AbbVie Inc., stock ticker ABBV, slightly more than 2.3 million shares of Bristol Myers Squibb Co., stock ticker BMY, and just over 10.8 million shares of Merck & Co., Inc., stock ticker MRK. And in banking, they unloaded almost 1.5 million shares of US Bancorp, stock ticker USB, and more than 51.7 million shares of Wells Fargo & Co., stock ticker WFC. Let's talk about those pharma sales first. These are great companies that, in my view, are actually worth accumulating more than selling right now. AbbVie, Bristol Myers, and Merck all have great fundamentals and low valuations, and they offer market-beating dividends growing at inflation-beating rates. We've been regularly featuring these stocks here at the channel as undervalued ideas to consider for long-term investment. These pharmaceutical companies benefit from long-term demographic tailwinds. The world is growing older, larger, and wealthier. That means more demand for and access to quality healthcare. Moreover, healthcare is a non-discretionary expense. If you need it, you're gonna get it. There's no room for negotiation on this if you have a health issue. Of these stocks, we most recently covered Merck back in March. Then there's the banks. I've covered the bank sales before. Buffett has been busy significantly lightening up on his bank holdings for more than a year now, but I've said it before when talking about this, and I'll say it again today. Buffett came into the pandemic way too heavy on banks, in my opinion. And earlier this month, at the annual Berkshire Hathaway meeting, Buffett all but admitted the same opinion. For the rest of us mere mortals without billions of dollars wrapped up in banks, I think they remain compelling long-term investments. We've done numerous videos on banks over the last year, even while Buffett was busy unloading them. For example, we highlighted US Bancorp as an undervalued, high-quality dividend growth stock back in August when the stock was around $36 a share. It's now at $60 a share. However, I do think you have to be a bit more cautious and selective around the banks, only because they've gone on huge runs. While Buffett was selling, I was buying, and apparently so were a lot of other people because bank stocks are up huge over the last 6 months. That has caused valuations to expand and yields to shrink, meaning you have to be very selective in this space. That said, I don't think they're sells. If you're Buffett and heavily exposed to banks, that's one thing, but unless you've got billions of dollars wrapped up in banks, and I know you don't, I don't see anything to warrant outright selling in this space. Of these two areas specifically, I think Big Pharma is more appealing at this current time. Either way, both the pharma companies and the banks look a lot more like buys than sells to me. I don't like going against Buffett on things, but I think their portfolio moves have been more about allocation, exposure, and risk rather than outright calls on individual companies, fundamentals, and valuations. It's a larger story at play here where they're moving around billions of dollars at a time. For us regular people, I continue to like both areas as fertile ground for long-term dividend growth investors. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give us a like if you did, and let us know in the comments what you think about these Buffett stock sales. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss out on new content. Also take a look at the description box below for some important links, including a link to my personal stock portfolio. This 6-figure portfolio, which I call the Fire Fund, generates enough passive dividend income for me to live off of. It allowed me to retire in my early 30s. I've made my portfolio entirely accessible over a Patreon, and I also post alerts there whenever I buy or sell a stock. I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm often invested in the same high quality dividend growth stocks that I make videos on. Over the years, I've heard from thousands of investors who've been profiting from many of the same exact stocks that I own. So if you think this is something that you could benefit from as well, check the link in the description to see my portfolio and start getting my buy and sell alerts. I'll see you next time.